fear, frequency, and the real reason you feel capped. Most women are operating from fear, but it's disguised as other things. It's disguised as strategy. And there's a very expensive type of fear that people aren't talking about, right? Because you think that fear only looks like panic, but that is quite simply untrue. There's a high functioning type of fear that is holding you back in your business, that is being disguised as taking action, right? And so right now, you're taking action. So you're like, Liv, I'm not in fear. I'm doing the things, I'm making the moves, I'm taking the action. But that's just high functioning fear disguised as action. And what that does is it gives your nervous system this illusion of momentum, right? Because you feel like you're doing something. But underneath the surface, your nervous system is just bracing for impact. And so this is what I want to dive into today, is this fear that tends to run the show and stops you from getting the results, the expansion, the success in your business in a way that feels light, but also it starts to happen faster and easier than ever before. So say hello as you're joining us. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Vinny. And the first thing I really want to dive into about this is when it comes to fear. Yes, fear, like we said, can look like panic, but fear is also deeply not helpful as you are growing and scaling your business. Does fear help you when you're launching a new offer, when you're pivoting your business, when you're trailblazing, innovating, doing things differently? Does it help you when you are doing a new type of business, a new type of product? No, right? Fear holds you back. It makes you doubt. You know this. But the important thing is like, where does this fear come from? And all of this fear that you fear is coming from the fact that your safety is being placed outside of you. So it's being placed in an income, a level of success, a metric, a need for validation. It's getting placed in all of those things outside of you. And your nervous system cannot feel safe when it is placed outside of you. And what happens is fear starts to run the show. It starts to be the operating mechanism, right? The lens through which you do everything. So you don't realize it, but you start making decisions out of fear. You start producing from pressure or to prove something or to convince. And these subtle ways that fear is operating in your system are going to keep you where you are, not where you desire to go. And this is really important because you are already successful. You're doing the things. But what fear does in your nervous system is it's like putting on the brakes in a car, right? If you're pushing the brakes and you're also pushing the gas, where's the car going to go? Nowhere. It doesn't matter how hard you push the gas. It doesn't matter if you go full throttle, right? Pedal to the metal all the way down. If the brake is on, the car doesn't move. Same thing goes in your business. Let alone if the emergency brake is also on. We got two brakes, right? And so this is what happens when you dissolve that fear in your nervous system and it no longer becomes something that you operate from, you propel forward. And I guarantee you've seen people who just seem to always be growing, always be winning, always be expanding. And the truth is, they're not more talented than you. They're not better than you. They're just more regulated. They have safety internally, and it's no longer getting placed in these outside people, metrics, income, and things that slow them down and put the brakes on in the car. And so I really want you to think, does it feel like you're spinning your wheels, right? You're putting all this gas, but the wheels are turning and aren't actually moving forward. This is a perfect sign that your nervous system is operating in fear and bracing for impact. It's not allowing you to propel forward. And I know why you're here, right? You want it to feel light. You want to feel that ease. You want to rise without the pressure. You want to lead without it feeling heavy. And so this is going to be the key for you. Fear is the number one top thing that holds a lot of people back from their next level, right? Whether that's the fear of visibility or the fear of responsibility, the fear of what people will think, both forward and behind the scenes. How will my clients react if I do this? How will people react if I do this in my business? How, right? It's all safety outside of you. And then if you get validated by that outside safety, oh, then I feel okay. Then I'll go for it. Then I'll do the thing. But that's not how expansion happens. And for expansion to become, right, your baseline, instead of just a momentary thing, you need that internal safety. I always say this is like a secret superpower of the most successful CEOs is having this embodied safety, because that means no matter what goes on around you, you keep going to the next level, right? You don't get slowed down. Because if you think about it, every time you felt fear now, you didn't feel it, you wouldn't have that stop and start energy, right? So maybe you get out of fear for a moment, right? And you're feeling good. The car is zooming, pedal to the metal gas. But all of a sudden, fear kicks in and it goes on the brakes. And the car comes to a stop. And then we need to get the momentum up again. And we need to get out of that fear. And then you dissolve it for a bit. All right, gas, you feel good. And then brakes come on again. That is what happens when you are managing your nervous system and you are not existing as the woman who is regulated. When that happens, right, you feel good temporarily, or you feel good until something happens, but then something happens and it throws you off your game, right? You go into fear. It goes, oh no, shit, like when's the shoe gonna drop? What's Sally gonna say? What is someone else gonna say? What's gonna happen with this? And you slow your momentum down. And this is what happens where people are managing their systems with, tools, practices, tapping, breath work, these things that don't fundamentally rewire it at the root. So you exist as the woman who is regulated, so that you don't need to be managing your regulation. The fear doesn't even kick in the first place. And this is something that is so important, because when you're no longer operating in that fear, can you imagine what you would do in your business? Can you imagine what you would say, what you would create, how you would lead? But also the giant exhale in your system when your mind is not occupied with fear. And this is why you can do all the mindset work to put yourself in the right mindset in the morning, listen to the things. But if safety is not embodied in here, if it is not part of your core frequency, then the minute it gets challenged, it's going to pull you out. The minute something happens, you're going to get dysregulated. You're going to not feel safe again. You're going to go into fear. Fear is, like I said, the number one thing that holds you back from your expansion, because it's the thing that knocks you out of your safety. It's the thing that makes you play small. And you're not here to play small. You are here for big things. And I know you can feel that. You can feel right now that you are on the edge of that next level. You are in that expansion. You are like this butterfly emerging out of a cocoon, and you can feel it. And that's why the fear can get so big. It's because you know you are right there, and you know you are meant for more. Which is why when you bring that internal safety in, when safety is no longer something you place in someone needing to validate it, or an income number, or a metric online, or an algorithm, this blue jay just flew by. Blue jays are my sign. You become not only the most regulated people on the planet, but you become unstoppable. You become this force in the universe, in your world, where people are like, what is she on? What is she doing? And it's not like some sort of information she knows that you don't. It's a frequency she moves from. It's plugging into her own internal safety. I really want you to think about how often right now you get slowed down by all of these things outside of you. How often you let these external things dictate how you move. The fact that you probably are in some of that high functioning fear where you're spinning your wheels, but not quite going anywhere because you got your foot on the brake and maybe even the emergency brake is on. You know, when I think about my clients, especially the ones who've gone from like 30K months to 100K months, you know, one of them has already done $300,000 cash this year, like in Q1. It's because they have this internal safety within themselves that did not come after. And so you might be sitting there thinking, well, Liv, I will feel safe when the money is here, when the clients are validating me, when people are praising me, when I'm getting all this, I will feel safe. And I will tell you that no, it is not the result that regulates you. You feel safe first, and then those things happen. The lightness, the ease, the expansion, all of it is on the other side of you building such deep internal safety that you can walk into any room, anytime, anywhere, and completely own who you are. That you can sit as the calm in the chaos. That things can be burning down around you. There could be noise, industries doing this, economy, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you're solid. You don't pick up other people's projections. You don't let that sway your belief system. You don't see something on the internet and then make that change your values or your position of your product or your service. You don't subscribe to other people's fear. It comes off you like Teflon because you are so rooted in you and so safe in you, and you've got you. My wish for you is that you get to this place where you always know that no matter what, you've got you. And that is a very powerful place to exist from, to expand from, and to innovate from. Otherwise, no matter what, if that safety is not locked in, you will always feel that need to perform, that need to push, force, convince, prove. And I guarantee you right now, there's something niggling in you when I'm speaking. There's like a truth in your body, in your frequency, in your system that knows what I'm saying is true, that has been craving this ease. But your system right now is so much bracing for impact that it's not allowing you to access that ease. Because like we talked about, it's a fundamentally different system. You cannot operate in fear while also operating in ease and expansion. It's one or the other. Safety is that switch. Right? When you build that internally, you switch the way that your brain actually perceives the world. Right? And so many of my clients, they'll come to me like, Liv, like I'm living like this. It's like, am I being like deluded because I'm so locked in? I'm so certain. I'm like, it's not delusion, it's regulation. Becoming safe and regulated is the most powerful thing you will do for your life and for your business. And it will feel like the most incredible relief and exhale when you finally realize that you never had to push or force or earn. You never had anything to be fearful of. You just needed to lock into yourself. And from there, you will fly forward. I love you. If you have not yet accessed the secret podcast, you can comment secret below, and I will send you access to unlock this free podcast. I have a whole episode dedicated on dissolving the sphere where I go deeper into this. So if you've not accessed that, you can comment or DM me secret, and I will send you the link to unlock that. And of course, this is the work we are doing inside of safety. This is not a course. This is not a toolkit. This is a full body, full business recalibration and rewiring into the most powerful version of you. The one who doesn't subscribe to fear, the one who rolls off like Teflon, and the one who keeps expanding to new levels, feeling relaxed. Because after all, that is the life and business you came here to experience anyway. I will see you inside. Let's go.